Hey neighbor, welcome back to hell. My name is John. I'll be your tour guide on yet another episode of Rock Gone Wrong, this time for Mainstream Sellout by Machine Gun Kelly. Promises of bigger guitars, bigger features, and bigger egos inflated the messy promo cycle for the record dating back to last August when he previewed the lead single Papercuts, a song that somehow managed to sound like a cheap imitation of 3+ other bands at the same damn time. Born with Horns was supposed to be the album's name, a clever twist on Born Horny because LOL 6th grade was hilarious, which led Travis Barker and MGK to get the fucking name tatted on their arm. Whatever, doesn't matter, the album as we know it is sitting on our doorstep like a flaming bag of dog shit, ready to burn down your entire house. So much like the last resort hiding spot of a coffin in a hurricane, let's get into this thing.
Something's gone wrong.
Despite being a natural-born poser who openly admits to playing the role of cocky jerkwad to collect your attention, MGK is alarmingly unaware yet way too self-aware at the same time, making this album incredibly confusing to sift through. For someone who deserves his place as the new prince of pop punk, something that I can't say out loud without vomiting in my mouth a little bit, he sure does work with the same already rich, already famous, already out-of-touch artists that gentrified the genre over and over again. At least with the disdain I had towards Tickets to My Downfall, the other side of the fence argument sorta made sense, at least to a degree. But this time, there is nothing left in the tank. There is creative bankruptcy, and then there is this. That would be the understatement of the century. The man is coasting on moldy leftovers that should have been thrown out of the fridge years ago. In the past, we've always known that Kells was playing up his voice a bit. It's not that uncommon, and a lot of people in the industry do it, and maybe it slid under the rug since there were definitely other problems worthy of focusing on. But am I the only one who noticed like a massive change for the way whinier this time? Because his voice sounds truly heinous, nasally, and forced beyond belief, like he's voicing a cartoon character. Plus the amount of auto-tune they're slathering on his voice. You'd think the guy was not alive, and they're just propping up his vocal snippets like it's Weekend at fucking Bernie's. Remember when Justin Bieber hopped on that Billie Eilish Bad Guy remix and it sucked so bad because Justin literally thought the song was about being tough and flexing? That's basically what's going on here, except Kells is mining for gold in the McDonald's deep fryer. It's hilarious to see such an out-of-touch egomaniac becoming self-aware, or so he thinks, because calling your album Mainstream Sellout? I mean, I've called this guy 1,000 things in the past, but I don't think being a sellout was ever the problem. The problem was being a terrible vocalist, lyricist, guitarist, performer, you name it. He's not even good at having beef. Everything blows up in his face. Ultra-derivative riffs will have you questioning how many times you've already heard this exact song, teaming up like some sort of unholy duo with the brain-dead lyrics to get you and the homies shouting, "Hey, hey, hey, yeah, yeah, drugs, depression, look at my girl, she's so fire, you wouldn't understand."
At the top of your lungs.
To be honest, it's not really the music that bothers me so much half the time, although I will dive into some eyebrow raisers when I go track by track. But Travis Barker definitely carries a lot of the load, with the rest of the instrumentalists at least putting in some effort to try to make these songs hit like a brick. But when Machine Gun Karen is the one throwing the brick, it's like watching 50 Cent butcher the first pitch at a baseball game. You have no idea where it's gonna land, but it definitely ain't in the catcher's mitt. MGK's voice gives about as much range as a flatlining heart monitor as he attempts to conjure empathy from the listener, and honestly, after listening to this thing several times, it seems like the dude might want to book a therapy session instead of a world tour. Born with Horns opens the album with a barrage of guitars and drums, seemingly trying to put me in this feel-good, loud pop-punk vibe, which I do appreciate, but it's a little bit like dressing up a turd as your prom date. Definitely one of the album's better tracks though. The flaming guitars are pretty sick, but Travis's drums are even more immersive. You almost forget you're listening to MGK, which I always count as a win. Say hi, 'cause the government had the phone. Fuck cops, read me my Miranda rights. Word vomit is one of MGK's biggest calling cards, as he dumps anomalies all over God Save Me. At the first verse, I thought it was going to be a more serious song about his dad, and there is stuff in there about his death, But then he starts singing this grating hook that's almost unbearable, and then by verse 2, he's seeing spaceships in the desert while calling himself a lost boy in search of a goth girl, and my patience just taps the fuck out like DJ Khaled on Hot Ones. Refreshing riffs are few and far between on mainstream Sellout, but this one's actually solid. I dig how ominous it sounds in the intro and at the end of the chorus, but as you'd expect, there's a lot of non-existent chemistry to suffer through between that. Ollie Sykes can't seem to stop himself from saying yes to literally every lame pop feature request out there in the name of extending the Bring Me the Horizon brand, so I was not surprised to see him appearing here. Also not surprising was Ollie tossing in just enough screams to make the heavy fans go, ooh. Also, the chorus straight up rips off Misery Business. I'm aware it's credited, but good God is it lazy considering MGK already annihilated that song with his terrible whacked out cover? This song is ass. The choppy guitar cadence with chilled out trap leaning percussion sounds like every song ever in that vein of playlist candy. You know, the ones where everything sounds indistinguishable because apparently sounding like a clone is definitely the vibe. Not to mention the subject matter is just toxic as fuck. It's MGK yet again romanticizing something not so great, this time it's addiction, and he's singing about his drug dealer like he's in love with her for bringing him pills, while Lil Wayne falls asleep at the wheel with an absolutely abysmal appearance. She got a couple blunts and Percocets in her purse. I can't front, I want first. If she got the good bag, I'ma pay what it's worth. I'm sorry, does this normally mean that you're standing around bargaining with your dealer? Like, imagine this millionaire clown standing on his front porch attempting to negotiate a deal. I can see some imperfections on that pill over there. Best I can do is write a song about you. Oh, what's that, lassie? Kelly fell in the well and shit his pants on the way down? Well, golly gee, I sure do hope that he had his Doc Martens on. I wouldn't want a rock star to be too comfortable. You know what I mean when I say vocal valleys? Like the way somebody sings and it sounds up and down and up and down. That's this song, clawing like nails on a chalkboard before telling the truth for once in his fucking life on the chorus. Leave the scene! You are genuinely ruining it! Fuck your shitty wave of fake deep TikTok pop punk light!
Waterworks when you're cool. Backstroke, we both naked. I could see that ass shaking.
It's Black Bear! Oh wow! I never would have expected MGK to tap this man that's humanly void of a personality in a desperate attempt to recreate the success of my ex's best friend! This might be the cringiest attempt at two grown men attempting to be sexy that I have ever heard. I hate everything about this. Every word out of both of their mouths is like the worst breath you could ever imagine breathing directly into your nostrils. And if I have to hear MGK sing about laying pipe while Black Bear whines and pleads about a girl being his drug, then so do you.
I fell in love with an emo girl. I'm in love with an emo girl.
This song has a target painted all over its back, and God, if it doesn't deserve every shot fired its way. Holy fuck, you're bleeding on my blink tee! You really can't sink much lower than Emo Girl, even on a toxic landfill of an album like mainstream Sellout, and that's about all I really care to say.
You're crazy. 150. I won't go. 150.
Distasteful is the first word I think of with this one. Of course, it's one of several songs on the album that sounds suspiciously similar to his already existing Bloody Valentine, which in and of itself sounded like a clone of Blink-182, which is really just his entire pop-punk career, but I
Don't belong. I'm a punk. Hello world. You fucking suck.
Papercuts feels like it's been haunting me for way longer than it actually has, but watch the fuck out! Uh-oh, album edit incoming, including a freestyle rap? Whoa there, Kelly! Sorry I sounded like I'm talking to a horse, but I actually kinda like this one. It's World War IV, way better than World War III. I don't know how, because it's essentially the exact same Blink-182 knockoff, but at least the lyrics don't sound as much like an angry 12-year-old on Xbox Live? Wait, no, they do. they do.
Did an interview with my eyes closed. I just sparked a blunt, it looked like pyro.
All I want is my brain cells back. I really can't stress that enough. In fact, it's at this exact point when I realized that I didn't even want to finish the album, but I sure as hell kept going anyways. And now I have the worst lyrics of the year stuck in my head, driving me insane. The chorus is cancerous, Wayne's verse is a terrible fever dream, but the kicker for me was this set of lyrics. I cut my hair off like Britney, sprinkled dust like a pixie, wiped my nose like it's itchy. How many ways can you hate someone?
I want you to know that you can't come back. I want you to know that fake love don't last.
Ian Dior makes some pretty solid music, and I generally don't mind him popping up on songs like Mood with 24K Golden and Happy Endings with Mike Shinoda, for example, but there's just nothing happening on Fake Love Don't Last. I'm bored to tears.
I paint my nails black. If I ever look happy, then it's an act. Every day is an anxiety attack.
Hip-hop song number 2 on the album, thank you very much. Back in the ring, gloves off, let's fucking go. Y'all might already know what I'm about to say, but why in the name of God is there yet another terrible, generic, cliched song about hating California? Travis Barker's son Landon sings the chorus, and since he's now 18 years old, I don't feel so bad for saying that he sounds like a total brainless cloud-chasing fuckboy that has nothing to say or do except be fake and empty. Gunna and Young Thug are almost impossible to tell apart with equally weak, equally auto-tuned verses that have absolutely nothing to do with hating California, which I thought was supposed to be the song's central theme, but sure, let's flex about sports cars, Prada shoes, and Xannies over a melancholic beat.
Close my eyes. She said I'm coming with you tonight.
Okay, but why does the lead riff in the chorus remind me of a little 80s hit by Pat Benatar?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! You're too good for me. I'm too bad to keep.
You can now jot down romantic confessions as yet another thing that this recently engaged Foot Locker employee is bad at. I mean, are you kidding me with this plain white tease, I've got 6 ways to say that I fell in love with you at first sight bullshit? Immediately after that line, he says, I wish I could frame the way you look at me with those eyes. And dude, you can! It's called take a fucking picture, print it out, and put it in an actual physical frame. I guess the last 50 seconds of the song kinda slap, but there's no way in hell that I'm gonna force myself to sit through the other 3 minutes just to get to that. MGK is like a wannabe punk rock peacock that flaunts his feathers trying to impress us all, not realizing that his feathers are gray, decrepit, covered in cobwebs, and falling out. Mainstream Sellout is a non-stop crime spree against music. Without a doubt, one of the year's worst, most embarrassingly paper-thin albums from a dude who can't stay on a single thought for longer than a lock of his bleached blonde hair. I'll give it a light 1 out of 5. Here comes the million-dollar question. Can you see through the disguise? Do you just not care? Or do you feel some other way entirely? As harsh as it may seem, it's all just my opinion. I cannot fucking stand this dude, but I just couldn't resist throwing myself back into the fire right here for this review. Anyways, you can check out more of my videos on MGK on screen now, or you can follow my socials that you see on the screen linked in the description.